Ahoy hoy, I'm Planarwalk, and I'm joined today by young blue Skeptic, and we're here to debunk Budget Mr. Beans' video about curvature.
It's been a while since I did, I did 2.0, and then people asked me if I was gonna do 2.5, and I haven't been feeling well the last couple of days, but here we are, shooting 2.5. So we're talking about 2.5, 2.0, the topic of 2.0 was curve.
So it has two, but it has something that happens before one, and it has something that happens after two. Now I can get that it has something that happens after two, and that would be why it's called 2.5, but the thing that happens before one shouldn't really add to its 2.5 status, even though it was placed after two in the terms of release. And, where were we?
If there is any curvature, and needless to say, I didn't have to invite anybody.
Well, maybe you should have invited somebody. That way we wouldn't need this 2.5 HD remix.
I guess bravo to you guys if you guys strongly believe that the Earth does curve at some point, but even in the comments section of my videos, I'm hearing contrasting things to support the heliocentric model and the fact that there is curvature. I'm hearing contrasting things like, well, of course you can see the Earth's curvature, of course. Look at this video of the boat coming from behind the curvature, so of course you can see boats going over the curve of the Earth. And then I'm getting comments saying, well, we're way too small to see the Earth's curvature.
That's like me saying that I'm too big to see individual cells. I can't see individual cells right now. I know that there's a whole lot of individual cells on my hand, but I have seen individual cells before. The way that I've seen individual cells was with a microscope, much like how people looking at boats going over the horizon will often use a telescope. So, Budget Mr. Beans, do you think that cells don't actually exist?
So again, like I kind of talked about in my 2.0 video, which one is it? Because I'm still getting contradictory things saying that we're too small to see curvature, but we can see curvature. I don't know.
Absolutely correct. You don't know.
Where people just say, well, yeah, you can see the Earth's curve and this and that, and lasers do show curvature and stuff like that. I don't even have words, because how can lasers prove curvature? Someone show me the video where lasers prove curve of the Earth.
Here you go. It's got everything you asked for. A laser, and it definitely destroys flat Earth. It crushes it, in fact. But seriously, it's not that hard. Just go to a lake, get a laser, point it over the horizon, measure the height of the laser at the start of the beam and at the end, and I'm sure you will see a difference if the lake is long enough.
The military uses lasers to mark targets, to do things. The Navy uses lasers over a vast distance out there on the oceans. And lasers, if I'm not mistaken, I don't have a laser here. I was gonna order one, but the holidays, it would have took way too long to even get here for this video. But lasers shoot straight. Lasers do not shoot divergent beams. So I know that there's atmospheric refraction going on and stuff like that, but even with that being said, lasers shoot straight. That's why lasers are used to measure vast distance. Even the military uses them, like I said. So how can lasers prove curvature? I don't know how they prove curvature. I can't even think of a way lasers can possibly prove any kind of curve of the Earth. It's mind blowing to me how lasers can prove curvature. Lasers have been proven time and time and again. Experiments have been done where lasers prove that over a massive body of water, it remains level.
Even your friend D Marble tried to prove that the Earth is flat using lasers and failed so hard. He even proved that the Earth was a globe. He claimed that if there was curvature, you'd be able to see only half of the laser beam, but instead you saw a full circle, which meant that the Earth is flat. But if you looked at one of the shots, where the laser's light intensity was slightly lower, you can clearly see that half the laser is being obscured by the Earth's curvature. Globe Earth proved by your own flat Earth friend. How ironic.
Simple. And so I've seen people say, oh, well, it's not perspective. These things are really going over the curve of the Earth. You could see curvature from standing at the beach. I've been linked to a couple of videos that I've watched. I actually watch the videos, you guys, link in my description. Don't think I don't watch them. But But I've been linked to a couple videos where it shows boats coming from the curve of the earth and going over the curve of the earth. So I decided to do my own perspective little test in my kitchen here to show you guys. And I had my little girl put some bottles out for me. I was too lazy, so I had her do it.
You were too lazy to put bottles on the floor yourself. Meanwhile, there's people like me piecing together hundreds of flight charts. Just goes to show how much effort globe earthers put into things compared to globe deniers.
But put some bottles out for me and put the camera at what would be, ground level, eye level, whatever, relative to the bottles. And it looks like the bottles are starting to curve. But I assure you that my kitchen does not have any curvature in it.
Where have I heard that before?
So in this example, I've set a book at the end of this very long hall, which they play table tennis on, so it's incredibly flat.
Oh, that's right, good old Nathan Jokeley. So if you're going to claim that something is flat, but say that it looks like it has curvature, please verify that it's flat first, because if you claim that it looks like it has some sort of curvature, then it might actually be because it has some sort of curvature.
And so I'm gonna put it up on the screen. It's probably already up on the screen at this point, but just goes to show you that it's all about perspective. It's not curving over anything. My kitchen is not curving. It's very straight, very flat. And it goes to show you that, yes, your senses and your perspective play tricks on you, making you think something is going over curvature when it is not.
Look, Budget Mr. Beans, if you're gonna say that perspective has something to do with it, please make sure you can actually describe how perspective works in the first place, because I have a general idea of how perspective works, and none of it allows for an object to magically start sinking as it gets further away from me. For that to happen, that object most likely would have to start sinking, because all perspective really says is that as an object gets further away from me, it will look smaller. That's all it says and nothing else.
It's all perspective, it's all relative, so...
Hoo boy! Relativity, something else that flat earthers generally don't understand.
Again, folks, if you guys are gonna come at me of all your little proofs of curvature and explanations of what I say in my videos, make sure you guys have like a little meeting first, okay? Get together and come up with one explanation for what I'm trying to say, because I keep hearing contradictory stories on why you can or cannot perceive curvature.
So let me get this straight. You want all the globe earthers that go to your channel to have a get together, and that's about 1,000 people. All these people have different jobs, come from different places of the world, and also have different means of communication. Some people don't use Google Hangouts, some people don't use Twitter, some people don't use Discord. And we should do this because someone might say something which you don't understand and think that it contradicts something else that someone says which you don't understand. Sounds good. It might be a little difficult, but it seems like it might be a bit easier than trying to get you to understand what we're actually trying to say.
And nobody's still explaining why planes don't account for curvature.
Because they are too close to the Earth.
Why we cannot see curvature in amateur hot air balloon footage.
Well, would you look at that? Curvature from an amateur high altitude balloon footage. Oh wait, I forgot. It's CGI, or fisheye lens.
Okay, 100,000 miles above, ground level. Why we cannot see curvature then? Why land surveyors, people who build bridges, people who build railroads, things like that, they do not account for any Earth's curvature.
How about you ask an engineer about that? Maybe one of the people that worked on the Lake Pontchartrain Causeway, for example. I bet you they'll disagree.
So until someone can explain to me those phenomena and why we cannot take into account in curvature of everyday lives, then I just have to conclude that the Earth is flat.
I mean, I just gave you a whole lot of proof just now, so maybe you'll change your mind now.
Now, for the people out there who say that we're too small to see curvature, what are you talking about? You don't know what you're talking about. We're just too small. You guys don't realize the size and the mass of the Earth. We're just way too small to see the curvature. Do you guys not know that in your own model, that flat earthers did not make this up, in your own model, you guys have an Earth curve calculator?
Well, the Earth curve calculator generally calculates how much of an object should be hidden due to the curve of the Earth. It doesn't calculate how curved the horizon should be, which is something that a lot of flat earthers ask for. And that's why a lot of people say, well, you can't see the curve of the earth, because they're actually referring to the amount of curve the horizon has.
In the heliocentric model, there is an Earth curve calculator based on the diameter of the Earth, on the circumference of the Earth. Now, we can take measurements, we can shoot lasers, we can drive distances, we can get in planes, and we can take measurements of the distance between point A and point B, plug that into the Earth curve calculator, and conclude that there is no curve present.
The amount of curve in the photo you have just shown is not going to be calculated by the Earth curve calculator. Work out what the Earth curve calculator is for before you make these arguments.
From point A to point B. Explain that one. Because no matter how small or how big or size or relative and this and that, you guys try to say there is an Earth curve calculator that exists where you can plug in distance here to distance here, and it tells you how much curve of the Earth should be present, but there is none present. Explain that. Until you guys can explain that, I'm just going to conclude that the Earth is flat and stationary.
Although that ignores the large amount of observations where the Earth curve calculator accurately predicts how much should be hidden. But Planarwalk, why do we see things that should be hidden? Generally, the reason for this is atmospheric refraction. A lot of flat earthers don't take atmospheric refraction into account when making their observations. In fact, I've heard a lot of flat earthers say, go and make this observation on a nice cold morning. Well, if it's a nice cold morning, atmospheric refraction is going to be at its highest. Then you've also got a lot of flat earthers who are very dishonest about it and put in the wrong numbers. Sometimes they put in their viewing height of 6 feet, when they're actually supposed to put in a viewing height of something like 20 feet, which makes all the difference in the world. And very recently, Anthony Riley put in a viewing height of 0 to try and show that Mount Rainier should pretty much be hidden, except he was wrong. The viewing height was 300 meters at least. In fact, when you do all the maths right for that, it lines up to be exactly what you'd expect on a globe. So anyway, leave a like and subscribe if you like that video. Be sure to go over to Young Blue Skeptic's channel to see an alternate version of this video, and while you're there, why not subscribe to him? A big shout out goes to my $20 Patron. What, Jesus? But anyway, I will see you in the next video. Between you and me, thank you for watching.